Because, Joe Biden is as bad as it gets, or we think it's as bad as it gets. It could potentially get worse because, of course, remember, if the president died tomorrow, we would end up with Kamala Harris as the President of the United States. Now, we know her expertise is in word salads. She talks absolute nonsense. She cackles at her own jokes, on and on it goes. Have a look at this. Tell me whether or not you think she's had a couple of sherbets beforehand.
Because when we think about the strength of our democracy, I think that there's a duality to the nature of democracy. When it's intact, it's so strong in terms of what it does to uphold and protect individual rights and freedoms. So strong in its nature. And it is very fragile. It will only be as strong as our willingness to fight for it.
As she is fond of saying quite often, she looked quite unburdened by what has gone before in that clip. I mean, what is she talking about? Every time she opens her mouth, it's just absolute nonsense comes out. Like, the wire's not connected properly up there.
Unburdened by what has gone before. I don't think anything went before she said that. She just opened her mouth and started speaking.
I think a few beers might have gone before that.
She talked about the duality of democracy, and then it was like, I had a thought, and then she completely lost it.
Yeah. And we've all been there, right? But just not that often, where you're like, I had a banging point to make. I cannot think of anything. I'm just going to talk to fill in the time until it reoccurs to me. But we just showed you that almighty clip from MSNBC host Joe. Check out this masterclass from Republican Marjorie Greene. She represents the 14th District of Georgia. Masterclass. Here it is in how to handle the lefty-leaning media.
And can you tell me why so many people that support Donald Trump love conspiracy theories, including yourself? He seems to attract lots of conspiracy theorists.
Well, let me tell you, you're a conspiracy theorist, and the left and the media spreads more conspiracy theories. We like the truth. We like supporting our Constitution, our freedoms, and America first. So
what about Jewish space lasers? Tell us about Jewish space lasers.
No, why don't you go talk about Jewish space lasers? And really, why don't you how about that?
Thanks. Thank you very much.
She is not being led by this woman at all. This is such a common accusation. Anyone slightly right-leaning who was probably 5 minutes ago centre of centre is now radical, right-wing, extremist, and always with that goes the label of conspiracy theorists, despite the fact that if you're keeping score, the conspiracy theorists are up like 20-0 at the moment, especially after the last 3 years.